Hi everyone, this is Tina with Dirt Therapy and welcome back to my garden. Today's project is going to be working on a flower bed that is really old. It is on our northwest side of our home and it does need a little bit of help. So I am going to turn the camera around and I'm going to show you what we're working with and what we'd like to do. This is that northwest corner of our home and it has seen better days. We have ferns in here, and of course this time of year ferns just don't look the greatest. They are gorgeous when the ferns are in full bloom and green. They are absolutely stunning, and that is the reason why my husband really insists that we keep the fern look in here. However, I want to add a little bit more winter interest and just clean it up. So the first thing I'm planning on doing is just coming and cutting it and getting all of the debris out. I've got a volunteer tree that has gotten quite substantial and I've cut it down, but I've just never had the tool to be able to cut it all the way through. So I've just been using pruners all this time. Now I finally have something that I can use to cut the base of this tree and then stump kill it for good. And I've got another straggler tree that is also growing in here that I need to cut as well. So getting it just cleaned up, getting these trees out of here is going to be the first thing that I'm going to tackle. And then I also want to remove this hostas down here. It looks beautiful too, but because of the sunshine in the west and it getting some of that afternoon sun towards the later of the day, it gets burned and I want to relocate it to a better place. Now I will throw a picture of what it looks like in the spring because it's absolutely gorgeous and you can see why my husband wants to keep them. However, after it fades, there's not a lot to look at. So I have 5 of the sprinter boxwoods that I am going to plant around the perimeter, and you'll be able to see it so much better when they're placed and this is all cleaned up. I think it's going to look really good. Eventually they will touch each other and create kind of a hedge around this area, and then that way when the ferns have seen the last bits of summer and they start to look scorched, at least we have some green to kind of pull into the garden space and not make it look like it's a bunch of nothing. So that is what I'm going to be working on today. So I'm going to take you along with me. Now all of these is Creeping Charlie. So I have to take that off. It is an invasive weed. They are very hard to kill. So I'm trying to clean it up a little bit before I relocate this to another flower bed. I got a pretty good root ball on here. It looks really great. I've had other hostas here, as you could probably see in the photo that I included. So you can probably see from the photo that I included that this used to all be filled with hostas, but I've been slowly taking them out this year just because I wanted to get them to another spot because I knew that I wanted to revamp the space, and I'm going to have to do it in phases, but at least I'm going to get the sprinters in here and really kind of give it a nice edge, and then I'll pick up the rest in spring because it is beautiful. But we're not expecting any rain either, so when that happens we still have to supplement our water a lot. Okay, so now I'm just going to get at it. The fern bulbs are like sticking a few inches up off the ground. So it's making it not only an uneasy area for me, it's throwing my balance off. So if you see me stumbling around, it's only because I have such uneven ground and I keep tripping over the fern bulbs. Doesn't that look so much better after I cut that big tree down? What a difference it has made. Now I have a couple other volunteer trees that I really want to get cut down with this saw. There's a couple up against the fence in the center and over in the corner by the fencing right there that kind of comes down from the stairs. I am going to leave the fencing on that side because it is a area where there's stairs and I don't want my grandson to fall. So that is going to remain there, and we'll just plant the sprinters and sprinkle them on that side and then some in the front. And I also have to cut out a tree over here by the downspout. It has been chopped away and chopped away as well, and it doesn't look like it's alive, but I'd really like to take it down a little bit further. That way it's not a trip hazard. Usually my husband is the one that does all of this stuff, but he is working. So that leaves me to take on the saw myself. I am so proud of myself. I used to be so scared of power tools. Like even within the last few years, I was scared of them. Afraid that I was gonna mess something up, afraid I was gonna hurt myself on it. You know, just kind of the whole drill. But I'm not as scared of them as I used to be. So thankfully I can do some of these things on my own now. Are growing all the way up to the wall, and we would figure that they would, right up to the concrete steps and the concrete sidewalk that comes out here. And then we've kept them really kind of at bay in this area, so most of them don't start until about right here, just because this area here was allocated to hostas. So I was able to kind of keep them under control and just cut them off at the bottom if I noticed any greenery kind of sticking through the hostas, because I really wanted to separate the hostas from the ferns. Now, the ferns have sentimental value, and that is the primary reason why we're leaving them. It's looking really good, and now I'm going to start placing the sprinter boxwoods. So here are the types of boxwoods. They're sprinters, they're proven winners, and they get to be 2 to 4 feet tall, and 2 to 4 is the spacing on them. So they get 2 to 4 feet wide. So that was the reason why I got 5 of them, because I can coordinate them for 3 and then another 2 in this guarded bed. So we could have 5 here easily, allowing enough spacing in between, because they need roughly 1 to 2 feet of spacing in between from the center. So when they say 2 to 4 feet, that means it is 1 foot from the center or to 2 feet from the center. So that would count 2 feet on this side, 2 feet on this side of the plant, or 1 foot and 1 foot. So I'm going to allow 2 feet in between. Now there is a fern bulb here, and that is about the location that I want the sprinter boxwood to be. So I'm going to dig this out, but I'm just going to relocate it to somewhere else inside the flower bed. It'll be fine. I don't know if you've ever seen a fern bulb, but they're pretty big. And then they have like little babies that come off of it, and they send runners to pop up at another location. And they're pretty heavy. This is a really good bulb. And you can really see it on this one, that here is that runner that is going to split off and make another fern. So here, in fact, we've got two different ferns. See, here's another one that's kind of shooting it out the side, and then this is what the fern plant grows up. So I've got 2 here. And we're clear. The next bulb is right here, so we're good to go on that one. Eyeballing it of where I think it's going to be, where it will land. And we do have another fern bulb in here, so I'm going to dig that one out as well. Just have a couple more ferns to plant. really just finding just random spots that I know there are no bulbs there and just plopping them in. Now that I've got all of the ferns in different places, I am going to start looking at the measurements and making sure that they are what I want them to be. They're each spaced about 24 inches apart, and I think that this is really perfect. That still allows the 1 foot to 2 feet on each side and then to touch. And that is really what I wanted to accomplish. I want them to kind of create a hedge, so maybe the ferns will have a little bit more protection for the bulbs, and who knows, maybe that'll help with the sun. It's just an experiment, but I really felt like this area needed a little bit more formality. But I think I am ready to start planting. I think they look great. I have mentioned it in some of my videos before. I use the Espoma Biotone Starter Fertilizer. I do have other Espoma products for different things, but this is my go-to. And this is probably the easiest one to get your hands on. This is really good stuff. This helps with the root system to really work hard at making the roots substantial, so it can help the growth in the second year to really put on the growth up towards the top. So this stuff is great stuff for all of your plants. The only ones that I don't use it in are like sedums and yarrows, stuff that just likes to be treated poorly. They don't like fertilizer, so I don't fertilize with it. I did make these holes. The biggest challenge is that I don't know what was in this bed many years ago. The ferns were planted by my in-laws, and we've had the house almost 30 years. And before that, my husband's family owned the property, and they owned it from 1981 until we purchased it from them. So there are a lot of like mysterious things that I don't know was in the house. And my husband, of course, he was young. He didn't know what was planted. They're very sentimental to him because that is the one thing that he remembers his mom and dad planting. So that is the reason why he does not want the ferns to be disrupted. And I can understand that, and I can respect that. So I'm making sure that whatever I do in this bed is not going to hurt the ferns at all. There is a lot of fern roots in there, and there's rock. I've been running into pieces of rock in there, and that is really kind of making it more challenge to dig the holes. But I got 3 of the holes done so far. I am going to be losing daylight here pretty shortly, but I'm going to try to get as much as I can done. I still just need to put biotone in these 2 holes here and then dig 2 more. I don't know if you also saw, but I kind of teased the roots a little bit. They're root bound a little bit. So I kind of just teased the bottom of them to give them a way to take their roots and kind of spread laterally instead of just keep winding up on itself. As much as I would love to finish this project tonight, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. I ran into a couple challenges with the dirt. Was great, but I was running into I was running into fern roots. I was also running into debris, glass, rocks. I of course can't just put my hands in there because I don't know what I'm going to find. So I'm trying to be very careful about what I'm touching in this area without my gloves on. And so that really took a lot of energy for me to get the whole area clean and start working on digging these holes, and these holes are tough. So I have the two more left to finish up tomorrow, and I'm gonna just call it a night. It is beautiful still out here, but as you can see, the sun is almost going down. In fact, I don't even know why I have my glasses on still, just because if I set them down, I know that I won't find them again. So if I am just gonna have to just finish this up tomorrow. Hi everyone, this is day 2 of the Sprinter Boxwood project. I ran out of daylight last night, so I had to stop what I was doing and go inside. So that's the problem with the fall weather. It always makes your days shorter and less time outside, especially when you work during the day full time. So I have to take the time while I can. So I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to start finishing the last 2 Sprinter boxwoods. Wow, I think these look so good. I am so happy of how they turned out. These are gorgeous here. I wanted to make sure that I had enough space in between because they will get bigger over time. And I do have some other plans for this area. I would really like to place some kind of trellis here and have something climbing, probably like a clematis. I don't know how well honeysuckle will do here because it's not a lot of sun, but I definitely think that the clematis will do really well here. So I'm thinking about that. If you all know a zone 5 to 6 vine that does really well in shade besides clematis, let me know. I would love it to put something a little different here if I could get away with it. I also am really contemplating moving over a pedestal that I have that I'm not really using in my veggie garden right now. I'm thinking about moving it over here and putting a planter on top of it. I think that would just be so gorgeous, but my concrete pedestal is hollow and the pot that I would put on it is going to be fairly heavy. And I don't think if I went with the lighter version of one of our products, I don't think that it would be tall enough. Otherwise, I think I'm just going to wait for my husband to make something within our product line and be able to make this a very classy, elegant space. Now that I've got the Sprinter boxwoods all planted, the next thing that I want to plant is this Korean Spice Viburnum. And I've been wanting one of these for so long. My husband surprised me with one over the weekend, and I am super excited to get this in the ground. Korean Spice Viburnum can get 6 to 8 feet tall and wide, and in some parts of the country they can go a lot bigger than that, but I can see it staying a little bit right around average here. Just because I have a leather leaf viburnum that I've had for a few years, it is probably about 9 feet right now, and sun to part shade. So this is a perfectly full sun spot that it will love. And it does grow in zones 4 through 8. So it's perfect for if you were in a zone 6 or a zone 5. You could plant it in a pot and it will do really well. In fact, my leather leaf is the same hardiness zone, and I have it in a huge pot, and it's giant. It's really big. So it means that you can grow these in pots. Typically, it's two zones down from what you are that it'd be safe in a pot. But I have mine leatherleaf viburnum in a semi-protected area. It does get sun, but it does get some shade as well, so part sun. And it's in a very large container, and it has protection behind it. So with it's on the east side in our garden avenue, and with that, and I've shown some pictures of it before, like videos of it when it's in bloom. It blooms twice for me. I just love it. The one thing that I love about this is that I've heard that it smells fantastic in spring. It has beautiful flowers and it really smells, and that is really what I'm looking for. I've got a lilac down here a little bit that I did transplant from another area, and I'm hoping that when you walk through this area, it just smells wonderful. So I'm really trying to pay attention to things that smell beautiful. I might even put some roses in this tree border. I'm also thinking about adding some other roses in other places. We've got roses in the flower bed we just made over last week. So we've got a lot of potential. I have a lot of areas that I still have some growing to do. I still have some places that need a lot of attention. And you know, with there only being so much of me to go around, I am trying to utilize the seasons the best I can. So for now, we're just going to work on this viburnum and get it planted. Wow, I think it looks so pretty, and it's going to do so well here. It's going to get plenty of sun. And now that there's been some cleanup from our neighbors, like you can't even tell it's the same place anymore. Now we're really going to have some sun in this area, and maybe my grasses that have been here for a couple years will grow on and get bigger because they've been kind of crowded out from all of the shade. So I'm really hoping that this can really take off. I have some more grasses that I am going to plant in this area. I still need to get the rest of those Japanese honeysuckles out. Those ones were just way too tough to cut out. Those are those green shrubs that you see there in the back. Those are those honeysuckles, Japanese honeysuckles, and they're invasive. They smell really pretty, and they have the most beautiful flowers on them and then berries, but they just take over. This is like the 4th or 5th one that I've had to dig out of this section alone. That's not including some of the other sections that we have. For example, there is one back here that needs to be cut out, and we've already cut out some other ones. So I mean, it really is an invasive species, and it just drops the berries and creates new shrubs. I am going to move the juniper now that we have we have some a little bit more sun. And as this place comes along, I'm starting to learn where I really want things and where I don't. It's a learning curve. I love the weeping blue spruce here. I think it's just gorgeous. It's going to give a lot of interest in the garden. I can't wait until we can really fill this whole space up. Oh, I'm just so excited for it. I even think that I might plant some bulbs, you know, maybe some daffodils. I think that would be really pretty to just along this whole border plant daffodils and just watch all of the color come up in spring. I really am thinking about doing that. But, you know, there's always stuff going on in my brain and it gets me off track of what I was really working on. But this viburnum is going to be beautiful. I cannot wait for it to show off this spring. Well, that wraps it up for this project. I think it turned out really nice. Again, right now it's just trying to get ready for winter and get the last bit of plants that I have in the ground. And I think that the sprinter boxwoods and that viburnum, that Korean spice that I just planted, is going to look fabulous in its new locations. So thank you everybody, and we'll see you next time. Have a great garden day.